Welcome, guys, to our session, our Business Academy session. Today, we're going to deep dive. We're going to have some demo from live experts. We're going to talk about transforming and enabling business effectiveness, with Microsoft solutions. We're going to have a Q&A session, of course. Please feel free to utilize that. We have our speaker, Samantha Diraj. She is going to be taking over our session now. Sit back, relax, enjoy our session, and thanks again for joining us. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Tamara. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining our Business Academy session. My name is Samantha Diraj, and today we will be looking at empowering remote work to help your team stay productive. So this is something that we really want to focus on, and we really want to focus on what security means as well while you're working remote and staying secure. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella actually said that security is one of the most pressing issues right now in our time. And what you've seen, and I'm sure many of you out there have heard, that Microsoft is really repositioning its security business around the industry. And they've actually launched a host of new solutions, and we will deep dive into those solutions today. And it's more or less surrounding operational security posture. So security right now has really taken the front of a lot of discussions at organizations, and driving that discussion really is one of the most abused, I'd say, buzzword, which is digital transformation. Just to walk you through exactly where we are, the need for digital transformation really is evident. I'm sure all of us are pretty aware that COVID really, pivoted the discussions. However, it's been around for quite some time, and organizations really saw a lot of challenges within the past year, from employee placement to supply chain management to retail operations. And Microsoft has actually made a lot of investments as it relates to digital transformation to help end customers like yourself really respond quickly and efficiently to the frequent changes we are still seeing today because of this pandemic. And the journey with digital transformation has enabled Microsoft to further its mission to empower all persons and organizations right now to achieve more. And we're doing that through various assets in the role. So let me walk you through how disruption has affected us and where we're going. But first, I'd like to touch a little bit about Microsoft 365. We get a lot of requests asking exactly where is Office 365, what is Microsoft 365, when we do quotations, etc. And Microsoft 365 really is a productivity cloud designed to really help our end customers achieve what really matters in life with best-in-class Office apps, intelligent cloud service, and really staying secure. I'll share a short video explaining how this enables organizations to stay ahead of the curve.
Imagine a workplace without walls or limits, where you have the flexibility to work anywhere with information at your fingertips. Easily connect with team members or customers down the hall or round the block and across the globe. Foster a collective identity and help individuals work better as a unit. Do all this and more while keeping company data and information protected. Microsoft 365 transforms the way you work with best-in-class productivity applications, simple device management, and always-on security to protect your data and defend against advanced cyber threats. Enable your employees to work from anywhere on any device while providing your business with email, calendars, file storage, a hub for teamwork, and the Office apps all working together so you can increase your productivity and grow your business with confidence. Everything you need, wherever you need it, in one solution. Imagine a
So that video really summarizes what Microsoft 365 is. So a common question that we often get as well is what happened to the Office 365 plans? So Office 365 plans, for example, let's look at the business plans. You still get the same great value that you had with those plans, same best-in-class Office apps, same security, etc. However, just to give you a quick overview, what Microsoft 365 apps are in terms of Office. If you're thinking like Office 365 Business, that is now Microsoft 365 Business Premium, etc. So, your apps are still there. However, they're now under different names as it relates to the Microsoft 365 suite. You still get the lovely applications that we love. If we refer to the wheel of tools or applications, you still have all your tools. We'll touch a bit of the key focus ones that a lot of organizations are using to stay ahead and stay productive, just to review them with you. So Microsoft 365 enables individuals, teams, and organizations to really work collectively together. We're not working in silos anymore. The key aspect is collaboration, and it really fuels the growth of an organization. And using these three pillars, I would say OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint, organizations are really able to collaborate across various scenarios, share files, share content management, and of course, remain secure and maintain compliance. For those of you, I'm sure everybody's familiar with OneDrive because we all have like personal accounts, etc. as well. But when it comes to corporate as well, just to refresh, OneDrive is really where you work with all your files, your individual work files. If you're collaborating with teams, etc., you can share on your M365 account on any device, access OneDrive through your mobile, your computer, etc. And it really helps. I use OneDrive on a daily to save all of my materials, going up the days when you would save and crash a file by storing it on your desktop or document files. Rule of thumb, moving forward, please save everything to your OneDrive. It has all those automatic updates, etc. as well for real-time saving, right? SharePoint as well is another intelligent intranet feature, and it allows you to really communicate widely and manage content throughout your organization. So again, a lot of organization has implemented intranets over the past year or two because of COVID, and it's really helped employees stay connected and be secure as well and manage the content intelligently within organizations. And of course, one of our favorites, Microsoft Teams. We're having this session right now via a Microsoft Teams live event, and it's the ideal place or ideal hub, I would say, for teamwork. You can collaborate real time with your team. I mean, the definition of a team is a group of people working together to achieve a common goal, and Teams via Microsoft allows you to effectively communicate and streamline processes. For example, if Tamara wants to work with accounting on some financials, she's able to share documents, collaborate, make changes, track changes, etc., all while using Teams. So you're able to seamlessly work across various applications. These three are notable mentions. You have consistent experience and power backed by AI through Microsoft, and you're able to work in confidence, knowing that all your files are security protected and you really meet industry standards. As your team really share and work on files together, you can trust that you have consistent user experience, and Microsoft 365 applications really bring those powerful and intellectual capabilities to you. You're able to work on your files independently if you want or share through OneDrive, connect and communicate via Teams, and of course, work across your organization via SharePoint. Just to share with you as well, you're not working in silos anymore because with Microsoft Teams, you're able to work across your organization. Marketing teams can manage go-to-market events, public relations, marketing, planning, budgets, etc. You can add guests if you want as well through various companies. We do this all the time through secure guest access. They can connect relevant third-party services as well, such as Bing News, Alerts, Twitter, all those connectors, Adobe, we'll see in a few, and even YouTube. You're able to manage and work seamlessly across various departments. So you're never, ever really being disconnected from your team. So you're never alone, more or less. Let's explore some scenarios on how M365 can really help you. Let's just say for scenario one, you have shared mailboxes and you can keep up with customers and prospects. So Microsoft Outlook could really help you to keep up to date with customers using shared mailboxes and aliases. Like, for example, if you want to have, you know, ABC group at, you know, contoso.com or sales, etc. Outlook makes it really easy for you to group workers and prospects, partners, etc. to send emails from one shared alias. For me, that's super helpful. If someone message or replies to a message sent to that shared mailbox as well, the email appears to be from the shared address. So you're always consistent and you know that it's not an individual user. If you want, you could share your calendar associated with that mailbox as well, so people can always see your availability and be updated. If you want to keep your customer close by, Microsoft actually has Microsoft Bookings. And if you're still managing customers' data in a spreadsheet, M365 could really help you nurture those relationships via Microsoft Bookings. It's designed specifically for small businesses, and Microsoft Bookings help you schedule and simplify scheduling appointments. You can save time, you can decrease no-shows as well, and it gives your customers and partners more convenience and control. And of course, the big one when it comes to defending against ransomware and malware with threat protection. So sophisticated threats can really fool even vigilant employees like ourselves. Microsoft 365 is built with enterprise-grade security in mind. So with automatic updates, you never have to worry about end of support. Each user automatically receives the latest security updates from Microsoft 365 and Windows 10 to protect your business data from against any sort of emerging threats that might be out there, from malware to phishing to ransomware. For example, if your employees have Surface devices, M365 subscriptions, they'll be able to work and collaborate on the go with no trade-off for security. Those are just 3 key scenarios that I wanted to touch on. And just to reiterate that Microsoft 365 really helps you to create your best work using the apps that we love, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, collaborate across teams, store access and share files across OneDrive, work anywhere with the Office apps on any devices, 24/7 support and protection, and always ensure that you have the most secure version of Windows 10 and Office applications. With that being said, let's touch a bit on the security landscape now, which is a very hot topic, especially within the Caribbean. We know that our jobs are hard on some days, and cyberspace is really a battlefield. We're seeing a lot of attacks on civilians and organizations, and they're no longer against government or enterprise systems. They're actually targeting people like yourself and me. We're seeing attacks against private properties, mobile devices where we carry around every day, laptops on our desk, even public infrastructure. And what started as a decade and a half ago is a sense that, when we were some teenagers in a basement, hacking, etc., it's not just that now. It's very extremely sophisticated. It's an international organized crime. And they actually have a lot of personnel and resources that are dedicated to committing these sort of crimes. So the landscape today is very, very, when we think about it, we think about how much and how affected we are because of the rising costs to stay secure, all these threats that are really evolving, the talent gap in keeping up with those threats, as well as the complexity of those threats. And it's really been a quite concerning point. However, in defending cybersecurity attacks, we have to really consider what is on our digital estate and what do we think about when we think about our assets. And what do we do to really defend those assets? So this is a little bit different than it was 5 to 10 years ago. IT organizations really need to be able to find themselves responsible for protecting a set of technologies that they may not own. That can be things like user-owned mobile devices that are used to access corporate data. It also includes systems and devices that your partners and customers use to access your information as well. And any one of these points could be a point of vulnerability for your overall estate. And that really changes the game when you come to think about it as it relates to security. You can no longer draw parameters around your organization. And this is a challenge that we've been struggling within IT security. However, with every challenge, there is a solution. And with Microsoft, we do have a lot of uniquely tools that can be able to support. For example, we'll touch a bit about them as well. But I just want to share when it comes to the cloud, some people are afraid, some people have policies that do not allow data to be shared. However, the cloud is very complex, but it can help manage that complexity of expanding digital estate. It simplifies and really makes security easy to manage. Next gen of AI and automation in the cloud really helps you to supercharge your work. For example, 95% of Fortune 500 businesses trust Microsoft Cloud. And these are to name a few of the leading ones that we're familiar with. And one of them, of course, is Adobe. And a lot of us work with Adobe. And we'll touch a bit about how Adobe and Microsoft work commonly together. Keeping within the security aspect, of course, at Microsoft, they've invested over $1 billion every year in terms of research and development to secure organizations and enable you, our end customers, really to digitally transform without compromising productivity. How do they do this? Via operations, technologies, and partnerships. And what really makes Microsoft extremely different to other cloud providers and even in security providers is really that intelligence-informed trillions of resources that they can help make smarter decisions with. They really provide a true holistically approach of technology to protect identities, data, applications, devices, if you're thinking on-prem, across the cloud, and even mobile devices. The protection is really at a global scale, and the benefit from investment on security allows end customers and corporations to stay secure. So if you think about operational capabilities, Microsoft really has the people and the intelligence behind the scenes, ensuring that you're 24/7 protected and you're secured every day. So that's something that I needed to highlight and share with you, that it's important to know that you're safe and sound while you're sleeping. So it all starts with operational excellence, physical security, operational security, global cloud fabric that really runs on other clouds, for example, Office 365, Azure, and security services. So it's important to really understand that across your data centers, cloud infrastructure, etc., you're always secured. You always have to talk about as well security on the human piece when it relates to intelligence security as well. And of course, operational excellence as it relates to those data centers that a lot of people have some questions about as it relates to security. But I want to share as well where this cloud security services really is, and what a lot of times as well for you to be able to understand what you would manage and what your shared responsibility is as an end customer, as an organization, as an end user, and Microsoft's. So the security of your Microsoft Cloud service is a partnership between you and Microsoft as well. So you must also be aware and take recommended steps to ensure and secure and educate your employees and staff that you're more or less maintaining compliance as it relates to security. This is just a high-level overview exactly of the various models of cloud that Microsoft provides. We have on-prem, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, more or less what what is managed by the service provider, in this case Microsoft, and what is managed by you, the end customer. So you get a good sense of where your responsibilities as well lie. Something to note as well is Azure infrastructure security. This is key because the Azure platform is really an architect for secure multi-tenancy and is really designed to really ensure that infrastructure that typically underlines the applications for servers, operating systems, web and database software, etc., is secure so that developers can really focus on doing their jobs, which is building applications and not on managing resources. So Microsoft's goal as it relates to Azure infrastructure is really to provide that secure, consistent, scalable set of resources so end customers could feel and be able to manage through a subscription via, your Microsoft Azure account. So no need to worry about having to be breached, etc., because Microsoft has that protected database and they have those systems in place that can help you. As it relates to security, something that I just want to share as well is a lot of the headlines are about large-scale organizations who were victims of cyber attacks. However, a lot of us, when dealing with family members or friends and families who own small businesses, some of us close to them, they would confide and let us know that they were victims of cyber attacks. But actually, this is more prevalent than you would imagine. Because the reality is that most hackers today are targeting those SMBs accounts, which are small, medium businesses. And it actually causes a lot of stress. And some people don't really talk about it. But a lot of companies that do not have the time or expertise to really rely or evaluate their risk are potential victims because they're probably busy focusing on how to run their business, manage their resources, etc., have sales that they don't have time to really become or employ an expert in the field of cybersecurity, and it's not really high on their priority list. These are some statistics, of course, from Verizon on the breaches that take place at small, medium businesses, the average cost of data breach, and of course, the skills, as I mentioned, that some of the organizations, the SMBs, lack. Today's IT environment, I must admit, is really challenging. And having an internet firewall, PC antivirus, and email filtering, it's not really enough to a sense to bring your business to be protected. But many things have changed as well. Employees are using different platforms now to really access data, personal devices as well, to even access company data. So you now have to think as an employer or an organization that you have more points of risk that can enter your company's assets, right? And data that can easily get leaked outside your organization, devices that connect to sensitive business information, if those are lost or stolen, sometimes people make mistakes, and you have to understand that cyber criminals are going after your users and they're doing it in increasingly sophisticated ways. We've spoken a lot about phishing, understanding how you get phished. We've received emails. I receive emails all the time that are potential phishing attacks. It can be some of the mass phishing ones, like if you want to look at those global leaders like Microsoft, etc., because they're so easy to recognize. A lot of people do mass phishing with those logos, or they do spear phishing where they try to send you an email from somebody you interact on a daily with, and they just make simple changes to the email alias. But if you don't do your checks and you're not aware, you may potentially fall victim. They may urgently ask you to do a wire transfer, etc., and you potentially could compromise your organization's information. So it's really important as well to understand how and where certain assets of your organization can be potential loopholes to be cyber attacked, and how you're able to mitigate. And through Microsoft, you don't really have to worry because they do have a large suite of solutions that can help, apart from being trusted and secure and backed by various global standards. These are just some security stories of breaches that has occurred from local SMB, IT managers regionally and internationally. More or less to summarize, it just shows how dangerous a security threat can be, having a real monetary impact on businesses. However, with Microsoft, they do have the most up-to-date standard as it relates to security. They do ensure that their SMBs are able and has a chance to use their technology and still have that world-class security technology that supports them. Microsoft 365 has been one of the tools that a lot of small medium businesses have turned to protect their business because of the scale of Microsoft security with over 470 billion emails analyzed per month, 3,500 security professionals protecting customers. Microsoft is really and has really designed a very integral business as it relates to security. And that is something as well that you're able to rest assured that your device management is safeguarded and your business is safeguarded from any sophisticated cyber attacks. I mean, this is just a highlight. If you get an email, you're not sure what to do, don't worry about it, because by clicking on a suspicious link that contains malware, you become a victim to phishing. And 90 to 98% of the cyber attacks, as I mentioned earlier, starts with phishing. However, with Microsoft, you don't need to really sweat it because one of the most conventional security products that deal with cyber threats is by scanning for signatures and knowing what viruses looks like, right? With Microsoft 365, you could be able to avoid any sort of malicious websites, etc., because they have tools that really scan those emails and they really have them and mark them as unsafe destinations, those ATP safe links. You're really protected as well as it relates to sophisticated malware. Those malware really prevents and performs advanced analysis of email attachments in a sandbox environment. It deletes any newly developed malware as well. You could even enable your phishing policies that really use machine learning models and impersonation detection to provide protection against advanced attacks. And of course, one of the favorite ones that we've all been using is really that advanced multi-factor authentication, MFA, and those policies really bypass any sort of trusted locations for your office networks. And of course, one last one is really enforce malware protection across your company's Windows 10 devices and protect files and key systems, folders from any changes that are made, and that's through Windows Defender. So that's a really high-level overview of how Microsoft is being able to help you with that. If you want to look at security with Microsoft, we'll touch on it briefly. Microsoft really has that security across all areas right now as it relates to cloud security, compliance, identity management, etc. So you're able to safeguard your entire organization with an integrated security, compliance, and identity solution, but you're built to work across the cloud and various environments. You can chat and never miss anything as it relates to the leading AI and automation that you have with Microsoft's expertise. You're able to detect threats, respond efficiently and effectively, and really have that peace of mind that comes with a comprehensive security solution. You're free to really grow and create and innovate your business. Just to summarize as well, Microsoft security as it relates to 365, you have protection from sophisticated external cyber threats. You have your control over your company's documents. You have as well those manage your apps and documents and any sort of access to your company data. So you're able to stay connected. High-level overview again on why you should trust Microsoft, because it's the largest security business in the world. A lot of years experience as well in the space to deal with security. And at the center piece really of Microsoft's investment is the intelligent security graph. And it's how they describe the way that they synthesize a vast amount of data from various resources. These are just some of the existing security solutions to Azure with Marketplace. These are just a great sense of control and partnerships that the ecosystem of Microsoft has as it relates to security. A lot of them are found on Marketplace on Azure. And just a tip, there are many security solutions listed here, and there are very more on the Marketplace. But these are all as well. Look broadly for a solution. If you don't immediately find what you're looking for, you can do a more advanced search on Marketplace. Some of them can stand out to you and do stand out to you. And some, if you need something that you really need specifically, just keep looking in Marketplace and you'll find it because they do have a wide search of products. Okay, as it relates to Microsoft Intelligence Security Association, this is something that I wanted to share with you as well, because the Microsoft Intelligence Security Association really is an ecosystem of independent software vendors and managed security service providers that have integrated their solutions for a better defend against the world of increasing threats, right? So that's really important as well. Okay, let's just touch a little bit now. We talk about navigating the world as it relates to security. We talk a lot about as well, moving forward, conventional, breaching, etc. Let's look a little bit now in terms of some of the constraints that we have. We do have constraints as it relates to budgetary pressures. I mean, this is one of the major ones that really affect how organizations buy and why they buy as it relates to cybersecurity. But rest assured, Microsoft, the investment is really, you do see that ROI that you're looking for. You do have that native protection as well. As it relates to Microsoft, of course, the leading AI and automation and the comprehensive approach that you're looking for. Just to share as well a little bit on Microsoft 365. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I think it's something that you all may have been aware of and hearing a lot of. What Microsoft 365 Defender really is, it allows you to stop attacks with automated cross-domain security and built-in AI. So as the threats become more complex and persistent, the alerts increase and security teams are overwhelmed. So what Defender really does, it's part of the Microsoft XDR solution. It leverages the Microsoft 365 portfolio and automatically analyzes data threats across various domains. It builds a complete picture really of each attack in a single dashboard. And you're able to clarify and focus on the critical threats and threat hunting. So Defender detects and stops attacks where in the kill chain, and it really returns the organization to a secure state. And that's something as well you're able to rest assured about. You can stop attacks before they happen. You can detect and automate across domains, and you're able to hunt all your data. This is just to summarize exactly Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. This is just a high-level overview indicating that it's really a holistic cloud-delivered endpoint security solution. Its capability really include risk-based vulnerability management, as you see here, and assessment, attack surface reduction, behavior-based next-gen protection, etc. So again, all the security content that you use in Office 365 Security Compliance Center and Microsoft Defender Security, it is now in Microsoft 365 Defender. So Microsoft 365 Defender really helps security teams investigate, respond to any sort of attack by bringing signals from different workloads into a unified experience for incident alerts, hunting, action center, and of course, threat analytics. This is in summary a diagram of Microsoft Defender for endpoint capabilities. These are some of the capabilities that Microsoft Defender really delivers, so you can get a good sense as well of those various levels, as I mentioned earlier, about threat, vulnerability, attack, etc. So you're able to get a good idea that it's built in the cloud and really powered by the cloud to really secure and unify security management and experience for end customers. This is a really quick insight and overview of how you could discover vulnerabilities and misconfigurations in real time. Basically, bringing security and IT together with threat vulnerability is a quick and easy way to manage and remediate vulnerabilities and misconfigurations. So what you do is really, one, you discover, you get real-time insight into any sort of risk or continuous vulnerabilities across the stack. Two, you're able to really focus on the right things at the right time using intelligent prioritization and business threat context. And three, remediate. Basically, you're able to maximize speed and minimize impact by connecting security and IT to a single click seamlessly, right? So let me just give you a quick example on how you could reduce your cyber exposure. So eliminating periodic scans through continuous real-time vulnerability and misconfiguration assessment, it makes the periodic scans a thing of the past, and you're able to choose now the security gaps and remove any sort of blind spots. Built-in and agent-based sensors let you detect vulnerabilities when devices are not connected to the corporate network, and that's really key. By having a use risk-based prioritization, the severity doesn't really equal to a risk, and there's a better way to prioritize which vulnerabilities and misconfigurations that you can address first. So by prioritizing vulnerabilities based on threats insights, breach likelihood, and asset value, you're able now to enable the assessors and detect the true threat to the organization. So you could be more quickly unable deciding which way to mitigate that threat. You're able to accelerate and simplify remediation as well. So you're able to bridge a gap between security and IT teams with a seamless built-in remediation process that really includes alternative mitigation as well, that enables configuration challenges, etc., reduces risk. Real-time mediation really lets you to quickly know the process of activities. This is your threat and vulnerability management dashboard. And what this really does, it gives you and provides actionable information that can help mitigate threats and vulnerabilities in your environment quickly, reducing your overall exposure. So this is just a component of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and it correlates near real-time endpoint detection and response to insightful vulnerabilities as well. What's the result, you may ask? Well, you can take quick action into your remediate vulnerabilities in your environment long before they're actually exploited by any sort of adversaries. So this is just a quick idea, and you see your score on everything that you get based on where you are with your vulnerability. Your exposure score. What the exposure score really is a score that lets you know how vulnerable your assets are to cyber threats. So the lower the number, the less exposed you are to threats. The number is really calculated by using a complex set of criteria. For example, machine weakness, likelihood of machines to be breached, their values, and relevant alerts as well that ties to that machine. So you can see your score, and you can see if your score improves or declines within like a 30-day period, for example. Several factors really affect organizations' exposure score, and that could be weaknesses discovered on your devices, the likelihood of your devices being breached, value of your devices to your organization, the relevant alerts, etc. So to summarize, the goal really is to have a very low exposure score so your organization can be as secure as possible. To lower the score, you just need to remediate the related security configuration issues on the security recommendations. And they do give you security recommendations you'd see here. These are just some examples. Yeah. These are your score for devices as well. That is just what the secure score for devices look like. We also have exposure distribution as well. And basically the exposure distribution gives you a quick view of machines that are exposed to the environment to any sort of risk. It's really grouped by risk. So if you want to see the details of those, more or less, you just need to select piece of the pie that you want to look at, and you get a drill down into exactly, which machine on the list is at risk. That's just to summarize one example of endpoint. Now let's just quickly look at why cloud security is important. Again, just to reiterate the management breakdown, I think we showed this a lot. Just to reiterate, as it relates to the various areas for cloud and specifically with Microsoft, where you are, what you manage versus what Microsoft manages as it relates to the various cloud, right? A lot of the questions that we get when we work with end customers as well is around various security vendors as it relates to cloud technologies. And this is a key slide because it's important to understand why Microsoft Azure and why it is secure. Of course, apart from being regarded as, cost efficient, productive, enabling business continuity, being agile and flexible. You also have that security when it comes to Azure. With the rapid growth of the various IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, you've been really able to streamline operations and improve worker productivities. However, you have those threats and risks that are affiliated. So more or less, Azure has that strengthened cloud security posture. You have assets and you can assess and improve cloud security as well on your current infrastructure, etc. You do have things like control app access and usage to manage and control apps, detect risky behavior, and safeguard sensitive information on the cloud. You're able to have integrated DevOps. For example, you can secure your entire software development cycle as well with tools from Marketplace and with Microsoft Azure. I just want to share a very high level overview of Azure security in depth, what identity and access looks like in terms of, being secure, apps and data security, network security, threat protection, and security management. For me, this is really important because we hear a lot of terms used loosely, but it's good to really see the overall view of Microsoft and their partners and the defense that apply to each area as it relates to security with Azure. When we start talking to end customers who are doing workloads and migrating to Azure and to the cloud, a lot of questions are asked about the security center, what it is, what does it do, how is it beneficial to them. More or less, Azure Security Center is really a monitoring service that provides visibility to your security posture across your services. So that's both on Azure and on premise. So the term security posture really refers to cybersecurity policies and controls, as well as how you're able to predict, prevent, and respond any sort of security threat. So that is something as well to be mindful of. Using machine learning to detect and block malware from being installed on your VMs and other resources is key. And you can more or less be able to reduce attacks surface by ensuring your network not only allows traffic that you require at a time that you need. So these are some areas and overview of how Azure Security Center can support. Of course, if you need any more information, just reach out to your partner and they would support through us as well to be able to have those conversations with you. A lot of organizations use Security Center to get detail on different components of their environment because the company resources are analyzed against the security controls of any governance policies, etc. And this is just an example of what you might see in Security Center as it relates to your security posture. You also have an example here. If an organization must comply with the Payment Card Industries Data Security Protection Standard, the report really shows that the company has resources that they need to remediate. So in the resource security hygiene section, this example really shows you that the end customer can see the health of its resources from a security perspective. So it helps to prioritize remediation actions. Recommendations are categorized as low, medium, and high. As you see here, you have high severity, medium, low. You're able to get a good understanding of what the resource health monitoring looks like across data security, identity access, networking, and computer and apps. So these are just some examples on how you can be able to really get a good sense of where you are in terms of security as it relates to your cloud assets, right? Similar to the endpoint protection, the secure score, to summarize, it's just a measurement of the organization's security posture. So it's like, you know how some people have credit scores? Think about your security score as more or less the same thing as it relates to your security posture as an organization. It's really based on the security controls groups related to security recommendations at your organization. And that is really key, understanding what your secure score is and how you're able to take the examples, and recommendations to reduce that threats and vulnerabilities. This is just an example of the Azure portal showing a secure score of 57%, which is 34 out of 60 points for someone's secure score. So the more security controls you have and you satisfy, the higher your score will be. So that's really the goal, to make sure that you have those compliance in place and those security recommendations are adhered to. Azure Sentinel is something that we hear a lot of as well within the space, and the security management really on a large benefits from a detected security information and event management system, and that's called a SIEM. So more or less what a SIEM is, it really aggregates security data from various sources, as long as those source support and open stand really, and that's really key as well. So Azure Sentinel is Microsoft cloud-based SIEM, and it uses intelligent security analytics and threat analysis. So that's key as well. Just to more or less summarize that Azure Sentinel supports a number of data sources, and these are analyzed for security events. These are connections that are handled and built in connectors or industry standards and log formats and APIs. So connect with Microsoft solutions. Connectors provide real-time integration for services like Microsoft Threat Protection, Microsoft 365 Sources, Azure Active Directory, and Windows Defender Firewall. So this is just to give you a quick understanding of those and how threats are detected. You can also, detect threats by connecting industry standard data sources. For example, Azure supports, when it comes to the Sentinel, it supports data from other sources as well that use the common event format, the CEF, messaging standard, syslog, or even REST API. And that's just to give you a brief overview of detecting threats. Just to summarize, if the organizations need to be notified when something suspicious occurred, it decides to use both built-in analytics and custom rules to really detect threats. What built-in analytics does, it uses templates designed by Microsoft by the security experts to really look at common attack vectors and escalation change for any sort of suspicious activities. There are templates that can be used, and you can customize those templates across, the environment for any activities that may look suspicious. Some of those templates really use machine learning behavioral analytics as well. Those are based on Microsoft proprietary algorithms, and you do have like custom analytics as well that you could create for specific criterias. So that's just something to note as well. And that is really a good overview of Microsoft as it relates to security and, you know, the threats and different types of investigations and protection methods. I do have a brief area that I would like to share with you as it relates to Microsoft and Adobe, something that that a lot of people often ask as well, because we're working secure, we're working remote, but one of the main areas really is to work collaboratively, right? And using Microsoft and Adobe, you're able to really maintain that um, work from home and work empowered, right? So Microsoft and Adobe really has a shared vision because experience is everything. And Microsoft really has that partnership and marriage with Adobe that allows it to do this. So we're behind Microsoft and Adobe, you're able to have that partnership that allows you to work seamlessly across your organization. For example, these are just two heroes that really tell their story where Microsoft and Adobe work hand in hand across various aspects. So Megan really uses Adobe when it comes to PDF Sign, services, and Adobe Sign in various areas of Microsoft from her Outlook, SharePoint, Word, PowerPoint, and Teams. And Brian, of course, uses Adobe Sign a lot because he's always on the go across his Office apps. And these are key areas as well. I just have a quick overview to share with you exactly how Adobe and Microsoft are really the global leaders as it relates to digital document solutions. Cloud product leaders, they're integrated, enterprise ready, and they do have that ecosystem of partnerships. This is just a very high level overview of Microsoft and Adobe integrations, where Microsoft has been integrated. One of them is really Microsoft Teams that we use a lot on a daily. But as you can see across Microsoft's entire solution portfolio, Adobe is the preferred partner that they use, especially when it comes to signing documentations, etc., because of that integration. As it relates to Adobe Sign, Acrobat, and Creative Cloud for Teams, you do have that area within any aspect of your organization that it can be used. So you're not limited into the integrations and to any sort of department. Within any department at an organization, you do have a need and it can be integrated. So if you're doing for human resources, they do a contract on Word, they PDF it, they can send it out for a digital signature, etc. Those sort of, real life examples, legal, NDAs, etc. So forth. So this is just a really high level overview of the use cases for Adobe Sign, Acrobat, Creative Cloud, our Teams, and where it is implemented. With that being said, I just want to say a special thank you for everyone who joined us today. And I now pass you over to our coordinators, our moderators. Tamara, Jesus Juan.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much. I think that was a wonderful presentation. Just a reminder, we'll be having a raffle at the end of this session. There will be a form to fill out for attendance. Please, that's what we're going to use to give the raffle, to give the gift card. We'll be sending out the winner we'll sending out the information to the winner via email. We'll also be sharing this recording with the team as well. A reminder to join our Azure session next week, same time, same day. So we'll be sending out the form. Sorry, we'll be sending out the form via email. Thanks again. Winners, please look out. Check your emails for to see if you have won something. Have a great day.